Alright, and welcome to part 2 of episode 3 of From the East End Terraces, the pod that covers the other football that is going on in Pittsburgh and around the world. It is March 27th, Thursday night, at about quarter after 10. I am downtown at Gateway Studios joining you tonight. Alright, in part 1 of the show, we covered some issues with the Pittsburgh Riverhounds, and this part of the show, we're just going to shoot around all the leagues throughout the world, domestic and overseas, and just pretty much cover what's going on, go over some of the fixtures for the upcoming weekend, and just talk about some of the issues. Alright, I wanted to get started with two teams that have already been actually crowned champions already of the 2013-2014 season. They are Celtic in the Scottish Premier League and Bayern Munich in the Bundesliga. Alright, first I wanted to talk about Celtic and also Rangers. Both teams, long time in the Scottish First Division. They're both located in Glasgow, and I don't know if you're familiar with the rivalry. It goes back quite a long time. It's very heated, very, very heated. Probably one of the most heated derbies in world football. It basically comes down to Protestants versus Catholics, and the Rangers, Protestant, Celtic, Catholic, and it's about as bad as it gets when you got to some of the terrorist violence, back in the day. I don't think it's been too bad recently, but, back in the day, those motherfuckers went at it. I mean, shit. It must have been fucking crazy. But, Rangers have fallen on hard times. A couple years ago, they had to do a complete, I don't know exactly what all happened, but basically they were financially fucked. I mean, I guess they were just leveraging money or, taking out a lot of debts. Definitely not as bad as the Riverhounds, is what I was talking about earlier. Jeez. But they actually got docked. They got docked 10 points in the league and had to go down to the Scottish Third Division. Excuse me. They were actually close to just disbanding as a club altogether. I guess that was pretty close to happening, but they made a deal, and they played in the Scottish Third Division last year, and they moved up to the Second Division this year, but they're not doing well financially. They had to take out a loan recently, and it's just not looking good for them at the moment, which is sad. Back to Celtic, I mean, they kind of basically just dominated the Scottish Premier League this year. They just cruised to a title. I mean, they've already won it, and it's not even April yet. So, that doesn't really give them good competition to get ready for Europe. I mean, they did all right. They did very well in the Champions League last year. They made it to the round of 16, and they beat Barcelona at home. But this year they weren't as fortunate. So yeah, it's rough. It's rough not seeing that derby being played every year, and it's definitely a blow to the history of old football, and it's one of those things against the hashtag against modern football. The money drove Rangers. It kind of ruined the club. So if you don't have all the money issues, maybe we don't have the issue with Rangers, and they're still playing the derby today. But that's a bigger issue than what I can talk about today. The issue of the just crazy money being injected into all the teams in world football. But some other topics I wanted to get to. I guess today UEFA approved and started some Nations League. I'm not really sure what is going on with it. I didn't really do too much research into it, but I guess it's kind of going to replace international friendlies. Instead of instead of having nations just play a bunch of international friendlies, they're going to have this league. Yeah, not exactly sure of all the details, but it's definitely going to be interesting how it all plays out. I know I'm always disappointed when the international friendly break comes around. I mean, it's good to have a U.S. men's national team game if there is one, but if it's not a World Cup qualifier, it does. It's I mean, it's still a game, but it's not as intense. So yeah, we'll see how this league plays out. All right, I want to shoot over to Spain and La Liga. It's hard to say at 10:20 at night. La Liga. And talk about the title chase going on over there. At the start of last weekend, Real Madrid, they had a 94% chance of winning the title, according to that crazy fucking index or whatever it is. But they lost 2 straight. They lost in the derby to Barcelona, and they lost early this week to Sevilla, 2-1. It was kind of an ugly scene as you had Ronaldo not yelling at, but he was kind of like making faces at Bale for a free kick he took late in the game when they were trailing 2-1. Ronaldo's kind of being a baby in all this. Bale came over there this season, $100 million player, and basically he has done all he can to make, Ronaldo happy. He's done, whatever he can to please Ronaldo, and Ronaldo's just like, go fuck yourself, buddy. So, it was working, though. It was working the past couple months as they were leading the league and, had a clear shot at the title, but those 2 losses has set them back, and, have the 2 teams, Atletico Madrid and Barcelona, currently leading La Liga, and, it's going to be a 3-horse race down to the end. It's going to be a good end of the season. All right, let's move up to England and talk about the EPL fixtures going on this week. Both ends of the table have some exciting action going on. You have the title race, and you also have the race for relegation. As my beloved Fulham are in, they are still propping up the table, but we'll hopefully see that change this weekend. Alright, Saturday to get started, the lunchtime game is Man United against Aston Villa. Then the the afternoon game, you have West Brom and Cardiff. That's a big 6-pointer there. Big battle in the relegation. I'd like to see that end in a draw. I don't want to see any team there get 3 points. Another huge battle at the bottom of the table is Swansea City versus Norwich. Stoke and Hull as well. Both teams are towards the top of that relegation battle, but, they're still there. Then you have Palace hosting Chelsea, Southampton hosting Newcastle in in the mid-table clash. Those 2 teams are the only 2 teams in the mid-table, and they play each other. Go fuck them both. Just kidding. And then you have Arsenal Man City, the big one in the afternoon. The big title clash there at the top of the table. Arsenal has been shitting the bed recently in these big games. Will we see it continue? I think so. I do believe so. I think Arsene Wenger is going to shit his puffy jacket, and that's basically what's going to happen. Sunday, you have Fulham hosting Everton. Can Fulham get some points? I believe they can get 3 points out of this game. It's at home. I do believe they can win. Maybe I'm just looking at this through Fulham glasses, but I do believe they can get the 3 points, move up to 27, and keep clawing their way towards 17th spot. But yeah, it's rough. The other game Sunday, Liverpool-Tottenham. Can Liverpool keep their title hopes going? I would like to see Liverpool win the title personally. But that is your EPL action for this weekend. Alrighty, we are going to wrap up part 2 of this pod with a shoot around to back to the States, the domestic league, the top league, MLS. Let's take a look at some of the fixtures going on this weekend in MLS. You have FC Dallas and the Portland Timbers. That is kind of the marquee matchup. The Timbers getting off to a little bit of a rough start. I know they're one of the favorites out west. FC Dallas, though, has gotten off to a pretty decent start, so that should be a pretty decent game. Over in the East, you have DC United and Chicago. You have the Union taking on Montreal. You got the Colorado Rapids taking on Sporting KC. You have the Vancouver Whitecaps and our Houston Dynamo, our affiliation, our Papa Club, I guess if you want to call it for the year, for the Riverhounds. And you have Real Salt Lake hosting Toronto FC, the story in the MLS so far this year. Bradley and Defoe are kicking ass and taking names, pretty much. They played 2 games. They've won 2 games. That's definitely new in Toronto, so definitely going off to a good start for them. And you have San Jose and New England. But I'm running out of time here for the pod, so I want to thank anyone who is listening for listening to the 3rd episode of this thing, getting it off the ground, and it's going well so far. So thank you, and goodbye. Scooby-Doo-Be-Doo-Bow.